It would be like in Mindhunter, where we would they would have it like the tape recorder on, but it would be kind of awkward first, but then slowly scene progresses and it gets more and more interesting, and you forget about it, and then that's when the serial killers revealed something cool. I think.
Yeah, but they don't constantly play with the recorder.
No, but I'm just setting it up. This is the beginning. We haven't even started the interview yet. That's a good show.
It is a good show.
Why is it good? I was thinking about that the other day, thinking about recommending it to someone. But I was thinking, why is it good? Why do I like it?
I don't know. It's clever, but we've had this conversation. Like, why was the last episode of Discovery good? You know, compared to the other episodes, which were sort of, they felt forced, you know? It was like, oh, you have to meet these characters. But the thing is what they've done is they've taken that engineering lieutenant guy, and they made him really snarky for the first 4 episodes, but now he's super nice because he's all in touch with the universe because of these fungal spores.
Yeah. I'll put this over here actually. It would be nicer. Yes. Fungal spores?
Yeah, but it detracts from the story because you don't know if that's just for the episode. Like, I actually thought when I saw him, he was at the party and he was getting drunk. But then I thought that would be a bit out of character for him, so this must be because of the fungal spores. But that's because I pay attention. You know, for your average viewer who's just like, oh, I like Star Trek, I'm going to watch this. It's been, you know, what Mindhunter does well that Discovery isn't doing well is it was intellectual from the off. It was clever from the start. You know, you were watching it and you knew that you were listening to interesting conversations. You're smiling at me.
No, I'm liking where this is going. Keep the train going.
But if you smile at me, I'm going to remember the recorder's there.
I'm gonna just do Fatima.
So what Mindhunter did well is that it was clever from the off. You know, it was smart because you saw exactly what the intention of the director was from the start. That this was a clever piece of television that would only be possible on Netflix because Americans have all these fucking rules. These ridiculous rules about swearing and all these ridiculous rules about bloody sex and violence and whatever. You know, it amazes my mind that in America the word fuck is worse than seeing someone shoot themselves in the head or get hacked to pieces. Dexter is a very interesting show because Dexter, what it does is it puts everything out there, but you have this character, Deb, right, who is brilliantly funny and so nuanced. And Jennifer Carpenter, she does a great job. Like, the entire way through. I'm watching season 6, which is the worst season. It is fucking terrible.
Dexter.
Yes, season 6 of Dexter. And I'm rewatching it. And season 5, right? First time I watched it, Rita had just died. And it was horrible. And, oh, they're clearly bringing this Lumen character in to replace Julie Benz and blah, blah, blah. All right, it's played by Julia Stiles. That's cool. I like Julia Stiles. She's all right. But, you know, they missed... in season 6, what they're missing is the clever writing that made it so interesting before. You know, the fact that Dexter's wife got murdered and then he decides to help a rape victim get revenge on her. You know, they were using each other the entire time, but it was clever writing because you don't really notice it the first time you watch. You have to watch them over. As soon as Julia Stiles gets the job done, as soon as all the, you know, rapists are dead, she's like, right, I'm done, I've got to go. But she fully admits it. She fully admits she's using him, or was using him, and her dark passenger has gone away. But season 6, what it does is it tries to make Dexter think about his spirituality. But the point is, he's a psychopath. He doesn't have spirituality. He's trying to find it. But Dexter's more interesting when he's not a human being.
Yeah.
You know, the most interesting parts of Dexter are when he's in that kill room and he's learning something from the people he's killing, who are also psychopaths, but are also capable of creating these lives for themselves, justifying who they are. Mindhunter, going back to it, is interesting because you are never given the impression that these people are good people. You come to that conclusion yourself that they are able to pretend to be good people. Dexter, because he too is a serial killer and we're seeing the world through his eyes and through his narrative, is seeking knowledge from these people who are just like him. And so when he learns this information, we're like, oh yeah, well that was obvious. It's like, that's the lesson we already know. In Mindhunter, we knew that they were lying all along. So everything they were saying was really interesting because we were learning something new from them. Knowing that they were lying, going into that interview room, watching the serial killer say horrible things in between, fairly funny things. Because all the serial killers have personalities and different personalities. The problem with season 6 of Dexter is it takes the personality from Dexter. All he cares about is whether Harrison's going to become a horrible child / adult and that he's going to give to him what his mother gave to Dexter. And it's just... Yeah, it's just... And everything's so expositional. Oh, it becomes quite a bit like a soap opera. Like if you've ever watched an American soap opera, like Days of Our Lives or something, you watch one scene from Days of Our Lives, every single word they say is expositional. There's this thing I did because that person did this, and that happened because this person did this, and it's so confusing watching them. Because you're like, how do these writers keep on top of all this information? It's why television now, because you used to have to be committed to watching television, because you'd have to watch your same show once a week. Now you get it on demand, or you stream it, or you download it, and you have it all laid out before you. And if you have to wait a week, you know what's coming. Mindhunter didn't make good binge watching, which was nice about it because it was
very chapter-like.
Well, no, it was, but also you had to take everything in. Discovery I could binge watch quite easily, but it's because Discovery is it seems to be testing the water, but we know where it's going. We know that 10 years from the end of Discovery. I mean, imagine if Discovery runs for 10 seasons. It's not going to. I reckon it will get to season 3, possibly 4. Because Michael Burnham as a character only has so far she can go before she peaks. And having a main character that peaks... Dexter peaked in season 4.
May I just stop you there for a second? I was just thinking that Mindhunter, narratively, it's less like a film and more like a well-written book, like in how it's so descriptive. Like a book, you will always say mention every body movement in close-up, extreme close-up.
And but it was like that scene where he was in the office, talking to one of the serial killers, Holden, and we cut to a shot of Frank. Is it Frank? Is that the big guy's name, Frank?
Yeah, I think so.
We cut to Frank on the golf course. That's where he finds peace. But in my head, because we were seeing the world, we're always seeing the world through Holden's eyes, really. And that's what it did really well. It allowed you to think that you were seeing through the eyes of other people. But I always felt like when we were away from Holden, these were colloquial stories we heard. He's heard from other people, so he's thinking about them.
Mm-hmm.
So his perspective of the world as a sociopath, because I think Holden is a sociopath, is far more interesting to watch for 10 episodes. Michael Burnham, unfortunately, is a rehash 7 of 9 mixed with Spock, mixed with Data. And We've seen that. She doesn't make a compelling main character. Holden has so far to go, but as soon as he peaks, he cannot be the main focus of the series anymore. So we have to watch him slowly develop, and hopefully, once he peaks, they decide that's when they want to end it. If Dexter had gone on for another season, people would have critically panned it. I mean, most people did critically pan the last 3 seasons. Well, the 5th season wasn't held in high regard, but it wasn't bad. And season 4 was its peak. Buffy, when would you say Buffy peaked?
Okay. Buffy to me is very interesting because each season is different, but they all complement one another. It's not different like, okay, we're gonna change style now. It's just that as the characters are growing up, all the themes and topics are relevant for their age is what's going on.
But like,
it's like Adventure Time to me. I like the way that Adventure Time is changing style and storylines and it's growing up with the characters. It's like a constant coming of age TV show, which Buffy to me is completely coming of age, but on such an epic scale. They goes through like so many lifetimes. A short amount of time. It's always profound.
But that's just it. Can you imagine a show where in the same episode that Buffy worries that she's going to lose Dawn because Dawn isn't going to school, she also has this massive big evil to worry about and take down. Like, it's a normal problem made worse by a supernatural problem. And there aren't, like, other supernatural shows always made the supernatural the main focus. But by season 5 of Buffy, it's just normal, you know? That's normalcy. That the demons, you know, Buffy's gonna make it through, which is why season 5 is very interesting, because at the end she kills herself. She kills herself to save the world. And one could argue that's when Buffy peaked. Bring her back, and for a lot of people that is when Buffy peaked. For me, how could they get any more peaky than the last episode, where Sunnydale collapses in on itself and she really was the chosen one? She really was the woman who would change the world, because she made all the Slayers active. All at the same time. And so she was the chosen one. The chosen one. Because she's probably the only one who could do it. Alright, Willow helped, but then the only reason Willow is even a part of it is because she met Buffy. And Buffy allowed her to find the supernatural. And so Willow's power, everyone's power in Buffy the Vampire Slayer comes from Buffy. Now, she might not be everyone's favourite character, but my God, when you think back on Buffy, you know that she had the world on her shoulders and she pushed through regardless.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so good.
I think people, I think Buffy's harder to like because her storyline is so tragic. Well, it's dark and heavy the entire time through, and everyone else's is, you know, badass or like more emotionally
Who has
entertaining.
a sadder story, Xander or Buffy?
No, I think Xander's story was just very human.
No, but that's just it. Like, all right, Buffy has a mother who loves her and a father who's still alive. All right, he's absent, but he was there for most of her life until she became a Slayer. Mm-hmm. And then you've got her mother who's very much there, working, intelligent, older woman, isn't so up in her business that it's the end of the world, but she's, you know, at the beginning 16 years old and a troublemaker as far as her mum's concerned. So she's struggling along, but she's got a home, she has a roof over her head, she has parents she knows loves her, and then you've got Xander, whose parents make him live in a basement when he comes of age, who doesn't really realize what he's capable of until he leaves that basement. and he meets Anya, and like that episode, you know, where he gets duplicated. It's actually called the duplicate, I think.
Yeah, but it's like two halves of him that make
Yeah,
it
yeah.
whole.
So, but the Xander we know, for the most part, is the weaker Xander. So we do believe that the more confident zingy Xander is the demon. But then it turns out that Xander is actually capable of both. He's capable of great cowardice, but he's also capable of great confidence and strength.
But his story is very reminds me of Sokka in Avatar. Like even though the show is clear, like the filmmaking is trying to convince you that he's goofy and not gonna succeed, or it's like just born to be miserable. But I always saw like him as more of a heroic character, stoic, noble, because it's not about his storylines, but it's what he says all the time to Buffy. It's always like the most rational, logical thing.
Well, yeah, it is. And also, Xander's the only one who stands up to Buffy for the first 2 seasons. He hates Angel, so but like in the first season he hates Angel and he gets bitter and jealous, and then the second season he gets bitter and jealous. But Xander is constantly watching these powerful people do these powerful things. And you know, that episode in season 3, the Zeppo, where he makes friends with the zombies and everyone else is trying to stop the end of the world, but he's been told to stay away, basically. Do you remember that one?
No.
And he's running about town and he has sex with Faith. It's when he loses his virginity. Do you?
Yeah, it's coming back to me.
But that episode is interesting because it's the first time that we get given that glimpse of Xander. Before that, all we'd seen is weak ass Xander, worried Xander, scared Xander. Also season 2 where he stands up to Angel, but even then it's only because he's got, logic on his side. Xander is Spock. He's just there to say the true things that aren't necessarily the human things all the time, or maybe they are the human things all the time. I don't know. I'm done. Can we watch something, please?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to watch? Oh, you know what? There's a new episode of South Park out.
Oh yeah, let's watch that.
Awesome. Good night.